Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I will be showing you a challenge that I undertook in December. It is the 100 Heads Challenge created by YouTuber Ahmed Aldoori, and he actually put up a Pinterest board with 100 references that you can use to draw these 100 portraits in 10 days. I actually completed this in 7 days. I wasn't actually aiming to finish it before 10 days. It's just I wanted to do it during my time that I was on leave and I had some extra time to spare, so I wanted to do it before I get back to work. So in the challenge, definitely I would recommend it if you want to get your skills improved and especially drawing portraits. I'm not someone who does a lot of portraits. I do draw people occasionally with graphite or maybe watercolor, but it's not something I'm doing regularly. I'm mostly doing landscapes and animal portraits or animal paintings. So for me, this was definitely a challenge to try to get 100 portraits done. And I must say, when I'm done with it, I'm so proud of myself and I'm so happy with how I've improved in my skills, because there's certain things that when you are drawing these portraits, as you go from portrait to portrait, you start seeing different things, noticing different things on the references. You start realizing the shadows, the highlights. You'll be able to find out or be able to see the expressions on the faces, different expressions. And what I like about these references is that they are so diverse and it's such a variety. It's completely every face is individual and different to the next. There's no two that are the same. The expressions are different, the angles are different, the uh, also it's different nationalities, and it's a big diverse range of people that you are drawing. So different hairstyles, different, even the accessories. There's accessories in certain of these references, and you get to at least attempt to try to get those accessories, earrings or headbands or anything like that that's on these particular references. You get to explore that area and try to interpret it into your drawings. And I think that was something that was a challenge for me as well, because I'm not really used to drawing people with different hairstyles. As I said, I don't do a lot of portraits, I don't do a lot of people drawing, so it was definitely something exciting for me and challenging. And yeah, it was something I would definitely recommend to anyone who's wanting to try to improve their skills, who wants to try to improve their portrait drawing. Try it out. You don't have to take complete it in 10 days. It's a 10-day challenge for 100 heads, but you don't have to do it in that time. You can just spend a few minutes every day, even drawing one or two for the day. It's just a practice for you, which I think is a very good practice to improve your skills, and it's something that I really enjoyed. I did end up skipping, later you'll see I did put a little clip of it, but I did actually skip recording 2 or 3 of the images. I did not hit the record button on my camera, so that little bit of footage was missed out, but I have got the finished one, and at the end of the video I am going to go through a page through the entire spreads of all the 100 portraits, so you'll get to see all of them. For these, mostly I used graphite pencil. I was not too confident to try out a lot of different art supplies. You will see I did try at the beginning to go with some ink and just use a normal gel pen just to get 2 or 3 drawings in there, but then I was not feeling too comfortable with that, and I went back to my graphite pencil, and majority are done, or most of them are done with graphite pencil. And then I, even later on, I'm going to try out watercolor for one portrait. I don't know why it was, but that one portrait I just wanted to try that one out with watercolor, and that was the only one I tried with watercolor, and then I went back to my graphite pencil. When drawing portraits or people, I'm very comfortable using graphite pencils compared to using the painting mediums. I am going to one day hopefully this year try a portrait with paints. Yeah, but that's something I'm still hoping to do, and I'm still going to give it a try. I need to just gain a little bit of courage to try it out, but as I always say, give it a try. If you want to do something, try it out and see. I was really impressed with this particular challenge. This challenge, it can be tiring. There are days where I had quite a bit. I did, I think, in the last day, because it was my last day on leave, and I spent the whole day painting. I spent the whole day drawing, and I think I did 28 drawings in that day. And the thing is, I didn't want to rush them. I didn't want to just get them done. I wanted to experience the drawing process of each of the portraits and learn something from each one. So although I did do so many in the last day, I didn't, basically I only did that for the day, and I just spent time doing each one. And I did notice that from the time I started with the challenge until the time I completed, I did become much more quicker with my drawings, and I was able to complete them in a much faster pace. And that's something that I think also shows that I have improved in how I'm looking at things and what I'm seeing. So I'm able to pick up certain things, and I wasn't struggling so much to get the proportions right. You will see at some times, especially at the beginning, I did do some drawings and I redrew them because maybe the eyes were not aligned correctly, or the face shape was not 100% correct according to the reference. And I see this actually faded off as time went on, because there was a few in between that I obviously had to correct here and there, but I was actually happy to see that I didn't have to rely so much on correcting the wrong proportions. I was able to start off, usually I always start off from the nose or the eyes, get the basic shape of the head. Those are all the key areas that I start with when I'm doing a drawing, or anything I do. I draw that way. That's the way I work. I get the basic shape. And with the portraits, I noticed that getting the basic head shape, putting it in the head, and then starting to put in the eyebrows and getting the eye placement correct, that helps a lot with your final piece. Because as you go through, then you go to the nose, you can put them in the correct places, and you'll be able to get the image or your drawing to look as close to the reference as possible. Some of these were more challenging than others. Some of them were not so bad, and they were not actually difficult to do, and they actually went through it very smoothly, and I enjoyed the process a lot. But there are one or two that I'm not entirely happy with, but after trying it and doing it, I just said, you know what, if that's how it looks, that's how it looks. Let me move on to the next one. I don't want to spend too much time on one particular one. As I said, I wanted to have this challenge done before returning back to work, because I do have less time once I'm back at the office. So it's only nights and weekends and holidays for me to do the videos and art challenges, or any art drawings or paintings that I want to do. And a challenge like this is something you need to go in prepared and go in with a reason why you are doing it. Yes, you can do that. Okay, I want to draw 100 portraits, but I went in drawing the 100 portraits with the intention that I wanted to learn from it. I wanted to improve on my portraits with it. So that's why I tackled this challenge. And I must say, there are some days I was really exhausted drawing entirely for the whole day, just drawing and doing one portrait after the next, to the next, to the next. And it did take a toll on me some days, and I was like exhausted. I did take, I think it was a day or two in between. I think it was New Year's Day or the day before. I did take a day or so in between, just to give it a bit of a break and then get back to it. But as I said, you don't have to complete it in a specific number of days, although that is a challenge, but you can take your time. It's just, the purpose of this, I think, was just to help artists to find time for their art, to practice their art, to practice their skills, their drawing skills, to improve their portraits. And the thing I like about this, it has such a diverse range of portraits. You had from actual people, young, old, male, female, and you had sculptures. The sculptures were a challenge to draw them, but it was really exciting to draw, because when I reached the sculptures, I was always excited that I'm going to do sculptures now, and then I would start doing the sculptures, and I was very, very excited to do those drawings. And some of them came out really good, and I'm really proud of myself, and I really enjoyed drawing them. But there were one or two that were also a bit more challenging than others, and certain things you wouldn't get so 100% correctly, and you have to erase and correct that. But the good thing about the sculptures, why I think the sculptures, you learn a lot from the sculptures as well, drawing them, is that you get to put in the shadows, and you get to see the shadows more easier. And you remember, you're using a sculpted object which obviously has different textures. Sometimes it's not smooth, there are rough textures which you need to use and or need to interpret, and that also is a challenge in itself, and you have to try to incorporate that into your drawing. You will get, like, if there's a certain area where the clay on the sculpture was not completely smoothened out and there's a little bumps and little lumps, or there's a little dent or a crack, you need to incorporate that into your drawing if you want it to look really like the actual sculpture. So I really enjoyed it. But that one that I did just before the one I'm busy with now, that little girl, that actually was a bit of a challenge. She actually looks like a doll more when I finished doing the drawing. But yeah, it was definitely, this is a challenge that I would recommend for anyone to try out. It's something that I enjoy doing, and something that I would have liked to do with more mediums, use different mediums, and have tried it with maybe using different inks, maybe using a ballpoint pen. That's something I would also like to try out one day when I have the confidence to try it out. But at this stage, I just felt comfortable with the graphite pencil, and like I said, I just wanted to practice and get my shading right, and get my realism right, and get the proportions correct, the people's expressions. I wanted the drawings to look like the people that I was drawing, and from the reference photos. There were also some funny sculptures that I had to draw as well. We will be coming to that a little late in the video, and those ones are actually fun to draw, especially with the expressions and the, the mustaches and the beards and all. It was very challenging, but it was fun to try to see how you can get the textures. Now over there, I started using a brown colored pencil. I think it was just a medium brown colored pencil, just to try to get a little bit of variant or different type of mediums in there. But once again, I eventually still went back to my graphite pencil, because I'm more comfortable with the graphite pencil for portraits at this stage. And there again, you can see that I'm practicing and trying to do different hairstyles, because all the people in this, all the portraits in this challenge are diverse, they're different. So you can see I've had to experiment with a lot of different things. You will see I'm going back and forth from the one page to the other, because there's certain images that I think would look better on a different spread, or would fit better on the one page. So I skip and go to that, draw the next one, and then I go back and I find one that will fit the page, and I go back onto that page. So that's why I'm moving around a lot from left to right, you will notice, because I need to find specific drawings that I thought would look nice in the spread, and that will fit on this particular spread that I have got. I would have liked it to look a bit more creative and more colorful, but I think it's still good enough that I took this challenge on, and I experienced it, and I got to also learn a lot from it, because I can definitely say my portraits have improved a lot, and it was definitely something I enjoyed. Another thing that I also learned when I was doing this challenge is the mouth area, the mouths and lips. That was something that used to be a challenge for me, because when I try to draw any portrait where I try to create from my head, or just draw a portrait, they looked very cartoony, and this at least helped me to interpret it more realistically and get drawings that actually look like real people, and with real expressions and different expressions. And another good thing about using graphite pencil is that if you do make a mistake and you're not happy with a certain thing, you can just erase it, and then you can work over it. I'm using a ordinary sketchbook for this. I'm not using anything very fancy. It's just a regular sketchbook, and I'm also using, I think it's a visual journal. And then I'm also just using a Staedtler traditional HB pencil, which I had to constantly keep sharpening, because you need to have a sharp tip when you are working, especially with the drawing, because this is a smaller A5 sketchbook, so the images or the drawings are not very big. That's also something I would recommend if you're trying out this challenge. Don't keep the images too big by using a big A4 book, because then you would take much longer on it. Although if you want to, you can. Obviously you'll have much more detail in those. But I think a smaller sketchbook is actually suitable for this kind of challenge, because it's just for you to practice and learn from your drawings. As I said, the people with the mustaches and the beards were a lot of fun to draw, because you get the different textures of the beard and the hair, and you have to, with the long hair as well, to get that texture in, get the shadows and the highlights in, get that. If they've got rough hair, you need to draw that. If the hair is very curly, if the hair is very smooth, all those textures you need to incorporate. Also, some of them have darker hair than others have lighter hair, but obviously the lighter hair's got shadows in there which creates the texture or the look of the hair, which also I enjoyed practicing a lot with this. Although I did not pay too much attention to the hair, I just wanted it to represent the person that I'm drawing. So you'll be able to tell this person's got darker hair and this person's got lighter hair when looking at the graphite drawing. So you can see from my drawings, a lot of them I did in different ways. I start off with the head, basic shape of the head, and then I move on to the face, and the structure of the cheeks and the ears, and I put in the eyebrows, and then I start with the eyes, and then I go to the nose. Sometimes I'd leave the eyes, put the eyebrows, nose, mouth, and then I would go back to the eyes and put them in. Because remember, the eyes are also important, because that gives the person their expression and their look in their face. So this is the one that I tried out with watercolor. I did just a basic outline of the basic features of her face and in graphite pencil, and then I just started layering in with the watercolor to layer in the shadow areas and layer in the darker areas, and then obviously get more color and tones in her skin. You'll see I would come through and add a little bit of pink into her skin to make her skin look more vibrant and brighter, and not look too dull and just a plain simple brown. And you'd also see I did her earrings, and that's another thing I got to do a lot, is some extra jewelry and necklaces, things in this particular one. There were also a lot of sort of, I think, goblins they are, and there were some that I don't actually know what they were, but they're sort of some sort of creature like things. Or then there's also a page that you'll see later, it's a spread. I'm not sure if those sculptures are cups or mugs or what are they, but they little sculptures with the handles and things, and those are actually fun to do. Yeah, as you can see, there's another goblin creature, also fun to do, because you know they're unique and the expressions are unique, and that crinkled forehead, and to get that angry expression, that was also something fun for me to do. And usually after I did the initial drawing of the portrait, I would go back and add the areas where I need to shade in, where the shadow is cast on the face, and where there's light, keep that areas as white as possible. And also these goblins with their little funny ears. The ears were a lot of fun to draw as well. And some of their noses were also very, it was exciting to try to learn how to draw noses, and such diverse variety of noses. Okay, there we go with the beard again. There were a lot of them to practice, and different textures of the hair. And then there was these kind of sculptures which were actually very interesting, because you need to depict the wrinkles and the creases in the skin, and also the way the light is falling on the sculpture. And that was all something that I think was really fun to try and do. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. This whole thing, the process was a lot of fun. And yes, at times it did get tiring and it was exhausting, but all in all, it was definitely something I would say that I enjoyed doing. So now we're paging through the final 100 drawings. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to like and share. If you have any questions or comments, comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Till the next one. Bye.